Coming in hot. There he is, the Gooch. Dude, first and foremost, before we get into anything else, I need to see the shirt. Please go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Your coach is hotter than yours. That is a phenomenal T-shirt, Gooch. Welcome, everybody, to the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio in Mattawa, New Jersey. Your host, of course, Sturch and Gooch, and the pick bitch Dina Simpson behind the glass. This one is going to be a doozy. They say in the biz, it is a doozy, Chris, because we've had ourselves one hell of a weekend, bro. It is, there's a lot to get into. Obviously, week 18 comes and goes, literally over. There's no more games to be played because that's the way the NFL set it up. No more Monday night crap until next week. However, we'll talk about that. But obviously, first and foremost, if you are liking the show, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff that comes with the promotion of YouTube. You guys are watching the show right now. We appreciate you. And of course, subscribe. That's the biggest thing to do. But also, if you want to support Chop Sports in a monetary way, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/Chop Sports. $3 a month gets you the general support tab, and that kind of just says, hey, listen, I got these $3 extra. I want to throw it to you every month. So basically the cost of $36 a year, you too could be a member of the Patreon. But there's obviously more levels. There's going to be a lot more stuff going on as the year goes on. So if you want to throw your general support behind us, there's also a $5 tier, a $10 tier. So do that, and I appreciate you. So good morning to some of the people in the chat already. Kyle Kerb's coming in. He says, shout out to the Detroit Lions. And I know that's obviously the first punch delivered to Gooch. We'll get into the Lions and Packers game in a little bit. So amazing, NJ. That is my boy Mike. He is our resident EA gamer for the Madden world, the Madden heads out there. If you ever want a real competition, Mike doesn't lose. I watched him. He is just a savant with Madden. So welcome, Mike. And of course, Ashley chiming in from the other studio. Carl's coming in. Yeah, shout out to Detroit, but go Pack, go. I believe that's your brother, not your dad. I'm always confused.
No, that's definitely my father.
Your father coming in. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Welcome, Mr. Gooch.
And hi, Ash, from the other room.
Hi, Ashley from the other room, working remote from Chop Studios here on a Monday. So there's Scoopaloo coming in. What's up, guys? Jags Nation. Dude, you talk about a game that shocked the world and put the playoff on its ear. Like, it just completely ruined everything. We also have AJ coming in. Morning Chiefs. New weekend album is fantastic.
I think him and Ashley are probably going to start their own private conversation.
Christ almighty God. Wait, the weekend, like the guy who did the halftime show?
Yeah.
That weekend?
Yeah.
Like Saturday?
Well, you don't like
Sunday?
The Weeknd?
I do.
I actually do like
that. Was
weekend.
The beginning of the pandemic when everybody's doing the everybody's doing the dance and shit. That's
how I was listening to The Weeknd on my scooter. I got like a motorized scooter for the pandemic, and that shit.
Wait a minute.
Was
really?
Fun. Yeah.
How come it's not here?
Honestly, the charger, I got to get a new charger.
Oh my God, it'd be so much fun.
But it goes like 20 miles an hour.
That's what I'm saying. Those things fly.
No joke, bro.
I love it. I love it. Danny's coming in.
Shout out to
Danny before.
Gang.
What's up, fellas? I actually took Danny to physical therapy today. He's looking good. I think he's doing way too much already, Gooch. I believe I was in month like 4 when I was like, hey, I can stand, everybody, right? This kid is like holding his son and walking around and he's doing too much. Calm down, Dan. We know you want to get back to normal, and I'm sure that'll happen. Brandon Taylor coming in.
We're gonna get into it,
ladies and gentlemen. We will
get into all that.
Absolutely get into all that. That's incredible. But first and foremost, I have to address the commander in the room, okay? The elephant in the room. You're seeing it right there on your screen.
I thought you were talking about me for a second.
You are. We'll talk about you commanding the lead in other ways. But on Friday night, this came across the Chop Sports desk, okay? You don't have to sit there and wonder, hey, who's your source? Well, then go ask Adam Schefter. Go ask Susie Colbert. Go ask, what's this guy? What's the bald, short guy? Why can't Jay Glazer, right? Go ask those guys who their sources are when it comes to having a big story, right? They're not going to give that up, okay? They're not. It's just that's part of their job to have that source in their back pocket. So we know this isn't groundbreaking stuff. And Gooch had no idea what was happening on Friday night.
Work.
You were doing anything. For anybody who doesn't know, Gooch likes to make money, and he likes a lot of money. So he goes out and hustles. So he had no idea what was happening. I kind of gave you the heads up, what was about to happen, and no response.
Yeah, I read it. I got the heads up 2 hours after.
Your Reds are on, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah, you might want to turn them off.
All right. So 2 hours after the fact, I'm like, what the fuck is Dave even talking about?
Yeah.
Shit's about to blow up. And I'm looking, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well,
also, that was you could have told me that sooner.
I remembered
because we
it.
all know how bad I am at
No.
back.
That jogged my memory last night
Right.
when all of a sudden I got the whole.
I'm sure there's a lot of angry people out there
Sunday
right now
night,
that
I
I've
got
ignored
the-
over the weekend.
That's the thing. I don't talk to you all weekend. It's crazy. I talk to you in the group chat with Dina and Kyle, and it's like we talk there, and then it's like on Sunday night, you're like, by the way, here's the work order. Bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, okay, we're working again. Here we go. Let's do it. But anyway, so this was the breaking news that kind of came across the desk of us here at Chop Sports. We are not journalists. We are not the people that are going to try to break news. But when things come across our desk, we're going to talk about it. We're going to say what we feel about it, and that's it. So there was a lot of people that came at us on Twitter and said that, like, you guys you're full of shit. I would say 90%, and I wrote it down. Our tweet has crossed the eyes of 237,000 accounts. So this is called going viral, kids, okay? And that was not necessity. Like, yes, the goal is to get people to notice us, but at least have some merit, okay? I'm the first one to tell you guys that not a lot of people know this. I was one of the first people to talk about the scandal that was happening in Washington before it happened in Washington. Pat McAfee put my tweet on his show because he figured that had some merit behind it. That blew up. My Twitter blew up, and it turned out all to be true.
Pat McAfee's producers are currently doing a deep dive on whether what we posted
to put on their overreaction
100%.
Monday. We'll see if they're going to put that on the show. And I don't really necessarily, that's not the goal. This was across our desk. I saw it. I said, and I asked the source, I said, look, you got to be confident with this because I'm not about to put this on our up and coming social media accounts if you're not right. And he's like, look, this is it. And then he showed me a screenshot of where he got it and his source. So we have multiple sources that are confirming this. And this is where we're at. The Washington Commanders.
There was other news coming out because I did a further of a deep dive, and there's some definite legs to it.
It lines up.
It definitely lines up.
Listen, I think the Washington football team had a contest also within their media and within their fan base, like submit your logos, submit this, submit that. And there was like a TV show on NBC Sports where the new president of the team was going over things. So there was an overhead shot of him, and you saw something
and then
very
the internet
similar
doesn't
to this.
quit. The internet did it
right.
Very deep dive into whether that could be real, and
so here's the thing.
Lines up with what you posted.
I know. So here's the thing. If we're wrong, and they make a tweak right now, that means they caved and they said, okay, hold on, it's leaking. We got to do something.
There's no way they're going to make.
But here's the thing, folks. It's January 10th right now. They have to have this in production for all of their merchandise, their jerseys. They can't pull the plug now, bro. So if we're right, we're right. And all I want to say is, we told you so. And you heard it here first. So it makes us credible. Yes, did we gain a couple hundred followers on Twitter? Sure did. Sure did. And most of them are Washington football team fans, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like your fucking team. Okay? I don't like your team at all. I think your management sucks. I think everything about the Washington.
Me out of fantasy football this year.
And I don't like Washington. I'm not here to bash Washington, but I'm here to tell you this is what happened with what we saw. So, again, I wanted to double confirm, triple confirm, all that stuff. And I did that because once upon a time, ladies and gents, I was a journalist, so I know the rules, okay? You can't just go out and blurt out like, this is the facts, and that's that, right? You can't do that, right? So I made sure I went through the channels. I did what I did, posted it on Friday night. The shit blew up over the weekend, and now you got to wait. 2/2/22.
It wouldn't be the first time. I know that I might get roasted for this joke, but it's a Hawaiian Mike joke, so I'm going to say it. It wouldn't be the first time Commanders came in and got rid of the Redskins.
Bum, 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 bum. That's very true. And maybe that's a thing. But anyway, we'll see. I'm not about to sit here and pound this over the head over and over and over again and be like, guys, I swear it's the logo. I swear. We're done now. I'm done. I'm going to sit back, relax, probably be sick over it for a little while just to make sure it's right because I'm a credible dude and I want to make sure that things are working in our favor as a company. You're right. And if listen, I'm going to tell you this right now publicly. If we're wrong and something is, and this is so far off of what it is, then guess what? We're wrong. We're wrong. Adam Schefter tweeted out
like Joe Judge. Hey, if
right.
I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then
right.
you guys could bash me.
Right.
But Dave's got 12 emails.
But I get 12 emails a day, and 6 of them are good, 6 of them are bad, just like Joe Judge. But in any event, that's that. I'm done talking about it. That was the elephant in the room that we all kind of addressed. Again, Gooch probably saw his phone and looked at him, what the fuck is going on? I had no idea. Sometimes even my source said, does Gooch know? And I'm like, well, I told him, but I haven't talked to him, but we're still going to roll with this anyway. And that's that. So good luck to the Washington Commanders, hopefully. Other sports, there's a lot of stuff that went down. We got a lot of stuff going on because it is, in fact, a big day. Yeah, and the Splash Bro is back. Klay Thompson returns to the lineup, so that was a big thing. The reason why I say this is a big thing is because of the minutes played and the points he scored.
Yeah,
he's back. Like he's very back, and now this puts the Golden State Warriors, I think, leaps and bounds.
Golden State was already
everybody.
one of the favorites to win it all. Now they get Klay back. Obviously, It makes him a ton better. Even if Klay just does what he does and gets 20 minutes, obviously, they're bringing him on the court to be some offense. I would imagine before long he's going to be back into the starting lineup. Maybe he did start yesterday. I don't really know.
I don't know.
Just to give him, maybe to start the game off and get the crowd into it. But he only played 20 minutes, 17 points. But did you see the Yam job? Did you see him split the defenders in the lane and dunk and
posterize?
I did not see one
highlight of this game.
So I wasn't even seeing Klay Thompson do that before his 940 days that he was off.
I was gonna say he's been off for 2 years.
He's been out for 2 years, but he wasn't even doing that before. But dude, an Achilles and an ACL, I'm happy for Klay.
That's rough.
It's fun to see the NBA get the Splash Brothers back. Going to be tough out west. I know Kyle's thinking that I'm a big Golden State fan, but yeah.
We shall
Denver
see.
gets Jamal Murray back eventually, and I think that's going to be the premier matchup out west.
We're about to talk about coaches losing their jobs, but don't do it yet, Dina, because there is one more thing that we kind of, I can't brush over this because it's another guy who lost his job. And based off of his comments over the weekend, he may never see another job again. We're talking about Antonio Brown. This is going to case close this because of what he did and what he said about Tom Brady, Gronk, how he's the best receiver on the team. That's basically outing Godwin and Evans. And he's ruined any chance for him to play anywhere else. Because if I'm a GM anywhere else, I'm like, I'm not dealing with this crap. I'm not.
I wouldn't say that he's definitely out of the league for good because you know how talent trumps all in the NFL.
Yeah, but
I thought that AB was definitely done before he went to Tampa. But look, man, things have a funny way of working out where if a receiver goes down for, let's say, the Saints, and it's week 7 next year, and AB is still a free agent, I could imagine Sean Payton kicking the tires on an AB. There's certain coaches. It's not all of them, but there's certain coaches out there.
That it would be Bruce Arians. He was like the ultimate players coach.
And we thought it would be Belichick, and that didn't work out either. So,
dude,
yeah, obviously there's some major red flags surrounding AB. But if you look at AB's last route that he ran, he put the receiver, he put the DB in a blender, right? The dude could play ball. Listen, so there's no question about it. And is he wrong? Realistically speaking, is AB worse than Mike Evans?
Dude, that has nothing to do with it.
I agree. But Team AB, I'm not on Team AB. There's no stretch. But Antonio Brown had some facts about who's better. And the point that I'm making is that he's going to possibly get on another roster because of that fact. But AB, you're calling out Brady.
There is a sacrilege. It is in the commandments of the NFL. Thou shalt not knock Tom Brady. That guy brought you into his home, dude. You live there. You were taking a shower at the same location he takes a shower.
Can I also
ridiculous.
Make another point?
Yeah, sure.
AB was like, "Are we friends?" He's like, "We're not really friends. Tom Brady needs me for football," and that's the truth. That's what I said about.
But that's incredible to say publicly, man. That's basically saying like, oh, what's that? You took me into your house. Why? Because you wanted me to run really good routes.
Like Tom Brady cares about.
Look,
it's not a knock on Tom Brady. Tom Brady wants to win Super Bowls. What do you want out of your quarterback, right? The reason why AB wasn't cut right away was because of Tom Brady. After all this is said, I guarantee you Tom Brady would take him back in the huddle tomorrow. Guaranteed.
I don't know about that, dude. No way. After him going out and just giving the business.
You see Tampa Bay's receivers yesterday?
Yeah, look, I hope Tampa Bay gets starched in the first round, to be honest with you. We'll get into the matchups tomorrow, more or less. But they got Philly, and if Philly is at full strength, who knows? Tom Brady might show his age tomorrow or this week.
I'll take Green Bay Philly.
I will too, because I know that Brady will be gone, and then that'll be it. And then Philly's going to pick you guys off in the Lambeau. It's going to be crazy. But in any event, it is Black Monday, and this is referring to the firings and the departures of many, many coaches in the NFL. Many, I say, because over the weekend we lost 4. 4 of them are gone. It's really, really disappointing. One of them is really, really disappointing. I will go over the list. On Saturday night, after the Broncos lost their game to the Chiefs, the Broncos, which, by the way, you talking about sources and this, that, and the third. Adam Schefter came out on halftime of the Dallas game, was like, sources have told me that Vic Fangio could be on his way out, but they really like him. He's well respected around the organization. Dude, you talk about backpedaling. Like, holy shit.
Well,
if they're going to fire him, they're going to fire him. There's
they
no
probably
feelings
do
in a
like
fire.
him. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the guy, Vic Fangio. I think
sure he's
there's
a
something
swell
wrong with
individual.
with the way he runs his offense because he's not an offensive guy. I don't think that he made the proper hire for his offensive coordinator, and they run the ball too much in this modern day NFL. As enjoyable as it was for me to watch, Vic Fangio is going to get a job immediately, though. There's no doubt about it. He's been a good defensive coordinator for a long time in this league, and there'll be teams lining up for him 100%.
And I'm just a shout out to the chat right now. If you're watching on Facebook right now, please click on the YouTube link. It is in the description of the Facebook. It's right there. Then you can chime in again. After you subscribe and hit like, you can chime in and I'll know who you are, because Niners coming for them boys. Yeah, that's great and everything, but I have no idea who you are. So that kind of ruins that whole mojo. And I know that's the fact that he said coming for dem boys. I know it's not Greg, and I know it's not like it's not your brother. So it's somebody else, right? But in any event, doesn't matter. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, the coaching casualties, Fangio fired on Saturday. The Vikings off a win, fire Mike Zimmer. The Bears off a loss, fire Matt Nagy, which again, that was kind of we already knew that the groundwork was laid for that one. But the surprise right before we went live,
bro,
dude, Brian fucking Flores, are you kidding?
I had a lengthy conversation with my father about Brian Flores, about how good of a head coach he was. He has the Dolphins 2 years ahead on the rebuild. They've been winning games. Last year, they almost made the playoffs, and they should have maybe not almost made the playoffs, but they had no business being a decent team. They fought hard. Their defense played well. And this year, they started the season 1-7. They fight back to get to above 500. They beat the Patriots twice.
Within a game
to
of a
bookend
playoff
the season,
spot.
they're within a game of a playoff spot, and then they let him go. I'm so confused as to how this is going.
Now here's my now I have a little bit of a not a prediction or reasoning why behind the firing of Brian Flores. Clearly, he comes from Belichick's tree. He was the defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick, right? So he comes down to Miami, does wonders with the team. I think they were, again, like you just said.
That was my brother on Facebook.
Oh, all right. Well, go watch on YouTube, Carl. What are you doing? Anyway, that was I lost my train of thought. No. So he comes down from New England. He's a defensive-minded coach. Do you see there any merit behind the idea that he won't be able to develop Tua as an NFL quarterback? Like fully to the extent of what would it be smarter for Miami to bring in an offensive minded head coach or a former quarterback, i.e. Kellen Moore, i.e. Byron Leftwich, i.e. Josh McDaniels in Denver? He's the offensive genius, or he was in Denver and now he's in New England. Like, do they need an offensive minded coach to get Tua to do what they think he could do?
No, I don't think that you really need to do that, because he's not sitting there trying to develop the quarterback. I think that you put the proper guy in place as a quarterback's coach. The quarterback coach has probably the most hands-on influence on the development of a quarterback. Second, I think, is offensive coordinator, and then third is head coach, depending on how they run the pecking order and how they run practices. But typically in your meeting room, a lot of times the coordinator will be there, but it's the quarterback's coach is working with the quarterbacks directly.
Yeah, Dallas has Doug Nisselmeyer.
I don't necessarily think that Tua isn't where he should be in his development. Like they let him play last year for when they probably shouldn't have over Fitzpatrick in certain games, right? And then they brought Fitzpatrick in. So I don't think that there's really any stunting to his development. He's been injured when he didn't play, and when he's been healthy, he's been playing. He's got a decent winning percentage. I think Kyle chimed in and said,
here's the Flores tenure with the Dolphins: 13-6 with Tua, 11-19 without him. So clearly the team is obviously better with Tua at quarterback instead of Jacoby Brissett or whatever else they trotted out there. However, like here's the rumor saying that Tua and Flores not getting along.
I think there's a little to say, but like, what coach isn't worse without a starting quarterback? I know that Tua is a rookie, so it makes sense that
what backup is taking the world by storm.
It makes sense that his record is worse without his starting quarterback. But either way, I think that Tua might not be the guy. I'm surprised in this case that if they are at odds, you're going to choose the second-year quarterback who's only got about 20 starts
over the third-year coach.
Over the third-year coach,
decrepit and old.
But this just proves my point. The players always win. That's why if it comes down to Russ or Pete Carroll, which we'll get to in a moment, it's going to be Russ that stays and Pete Carroll that goes. The players always win.
It's just interesting, man. That was the bigger shocker. Mike Zimmer now. He's a defensive-minded coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys during their Super Bowl years. So this man, and when I say Super Bowl years, now it feels like prehistoric times. Zimmer's been around for a long time, right? So now what does Zimmer do? Is he too old and too seasoned to be a defensive coordinator again?
Absolutely not. I would imagine that much like Vic Fangio, there's going to be teams lining up for Mike Zimmer services. Mike Zimmer might get a head coaching job. He's had success. He's above 500.
I like Zimmer.
I think he's like 10 or 11 wins above 500 for his career. He hasn't had playoff success, but that could be attributed to Kirk Cousins in some ways. I don't know that Mike Zimmer has really gone out there and lost them games. They had that one year that they made the playoffs, they had that miracle game.
Yeah, the Minnesota Miracle with Stephon Diggs.
He had some playoff success, but at the end of the day, not making the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, that's not going to get it done. Maybe a new message in Minnesota.
Correct. I think the whatchamacallit, the criteria of firing a coach made more sense in Minnesota than it did in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't make the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, all right, then something's got to give. We got to make a change, and things have to be different in Minnesota. With the Chicago Bears, though, there's been rumors now swirling around that Jim Harbaugh is entertaining the idea of driving down the street and going to coach his team that drafted him.
There's also rumors swirling around that Jim Harbaugh is putting his name in the hat for coaching vacancies that aren't even available yet. Which
correct,
is a very Jim Harbaugh thing to do.
But anyway, so that's the coaching that got fired. We'll see what happens. But who's next, Gooch? I mean, we've talked in length about Joe Judge last week. I mean, our clips were very funny because it's comedy. It's comedy. That too. Comedy. But anyway, but Joe Judge yesterday, once again, has a clown show of a press conference after another disgusting loss to the Washington football team, right? Where they couldn't move the ball. They scored 7 points, right? It was like garbage time. They finally hit a receiver, which never happens. But anyway, they asked him and he said, well, in the NFL, there's 31 teams that go home unhappy. There's only one story that's a success in a season. I was like, that's not true. That's not true. You can't define a successful season as just the Super Bowl champion.
There's also only one team in the NFL that when they're 3rd and 9 inside their own 5, they run a quarterback sneak, and that's you, Joe Judge. So you're pretty much calling games to lose your job.
Or whatever.
He had this big 45-minute drawn-out, dragged-out press conference where he basically said, watch this Sunday, we're going to come out and play differently. And he did pretty much the exact same thing.
I was going to say, I'll check my phone now.
Very embarrassing.
Nothing yet, but
watching that game, I didn't bet the Giants or anything, but I did pick them on our show. And I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, bro, you're down. It's the football team or the Commanders, whichever one you want to call it, right?
Right.
It's a division game. It's week 17. Your receivers are in the huddle, and you're calling a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9. It's like, what? You got guys calling you to want to come there? Get the fuck out of here, bro.
If it's 3rd and 9 from your own 48, I'm like, you know what? Let's just get more, or no, maybe the 30. Get more room, play field position game. You're on your own 5. You don't call that play.
Bro, and we're not talking about the games, but I watched it. I watched the Detroit team play exactly how you're supposed to play when you got nothing to lose.
The Giants did not play. They
pulled out every trick play
no
in the book. If you get beat up because you're trying hard and you're looking to let your players have some fun, that's one thing. But nobody wants to go out there and risk it all to not even run routes when you're in this situation that calls for it. Right. Just because you're afraid to throw a pick? It's like, you're not scoring. What's the difference?
So who the other one besides Joe Judge is Pete Carroll. We were talking about it before. You're siding with the player. I'm siding with the coach, I think. I mean, listen, his agent, I was listening to this on the radio with my brother on the way down here. His agent is going to be the one that says, we want more money. Now, I know Russ Wilson's contract is not up. He's not a free agent, none of that, right? But if he is to demand a trade, whoever takes this guy, he's going to want an extendo too. You know what I mean? Like, ensure me that because he has a no trade clause.
Well, that's a given. Any team that trades for him and gives up the capital is going to be looking to give him the extension.
Do you think right now, sitting here January 10th, do you think anybody has the capital to acquire Russell Wilson for next year?
Yeah, the same team that's probably been low-key trying to acquire the capital or to retain the capital to trade for an Aaron Rodgers, those same exact teams are going to be in on the Russell Wilson sweepstakes but either way, neither of those guys are going anywhere. So we could put that all to bed right now. You want to trade?
You said neither of them are going?
Neither of them are going anywhere. Russell Wilson
you think Carroll and Wilson are back?
No. I'm talking about Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I think Pete Carroll, there's a very, very good chance that you see his name on this list by the end of the week. Only because of the fact that they need a new message out there. They've been starving their receivers for 3 or 4 seasons now. And I'm not saying that they haven't done their numbers. Lockett and Metcalf did well last year.
But think about their wasted years.
Not only that, bro. They run the ball way too much for a team that's got that talent on the outside.
And no actual running back.
Well, Carson's been decent, but
you know what I'm talking about. Like,
I do.
No real bell cow.
I do.
They had 17 dudes running that ball this year.
Ever since Beast Mode left, which has been fairly recent, but not really when you think about it. I think he's been gone for 3 or 4 years now. They just run the football way too much, and I've looking at the Seattle offense, I'm always wondering, man, like, damn, I've had Russ in fantasy plenty of times and just watched him hand the ball off to death. And the league is changing. I think Seattle fans and the Seattle team, they need a new message, man. It's a very similar situation to Tom Coughlin, where they had success. It's just the message got dry.
I think it'll be more of a parting ways. You know, like there won't be a Carroll firing.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to. But Pete Carroll, I don't know. Pete Carroll's too obnoxious to like agree to that. Basically, he's sitting there and he's saying, no, my job's fine. He's acting like there's no trouble in paradise whatsoever, and that he's ready to go. He feels great. He's treating it as if he's a player. Like, he'll be back next year. I feel great. It's like, no, dude, it doesn't matter how you feel. You know, like you could feel great.
That's great. I'm glad you
feel
home.
Good. Right. But you're not coaching next year on this team.
So Black Monday is obviously very, very active right now.
My brother and my father beefing right now.
That's
in the
cool.
Chat.
Wow, says the guy who rooted for Favre in Minnesota. There is a lot of stuff going on in the chat right now between the Gucci family. Settle down, boys. Everything will be fine. We're about to talk about your great loss to the Lions in a couple minutes. But anyway, let's start with the NFL slate, because obviously there was a lot of games, amazing games, but we got to start. I would normally start in order or start with the Packers or start with the Cowboys, but that game last night was one of the greatest games that I've watched in a long, long time. Everybody praying for the tie. We have a certain individual partner of ours who is going to cash in, and I'll say the number because I think it's unbelievable. Could have won $11,000 if this game tied, right? But it didn't. It didn't happen. Now, there's so many layers to this, right? The Raiders were the feel-good story after everything. They've been through a lot, right? They've been through this whole Gruden with the firing, Ruggs with the DUI and killing somebody. Like, it's been a rough year for the Raiders. However, that's the team you kind of want to get behind. Like, when, like, all right, despite all the shit, let's see how far they can go. And here they are. They're a playoff team now, which is unbelievable.
Not only that, they're the 5 seed.
Right. So Dina's Raiders are in the playoffs. Tommy D's Raiders. Joey D's Raiders.
D. Shout out Joey
my boy
D.
Mark's Raiders.
Loyal
There's a lot of Raiders fans out there that are excited about this. And like I said last week, I'm a big, big Carr guy. Love this guy. Love everything he says. Love everything he does on and off the field. He is a wonderful human being. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. However, this game and the way that these teams could have gotten into the playoffs should have been the way they got into the playoffs. However, our boy over Analytics USA in LA screwed the pooch.
Brandon Staley.
He absolutely dropped the
donkey
ball.
of the day.
What exactly was he thinking calling that timeout? It was clear.
Well,
and
I know what he was
what the
thinking
Raiders
because
were doing.
I know what he was thinking. I watched the press conference.
Yeah, but that's
he said that. Well, first of all, if you look at the play clock, there's no reason why he needs to call a timeout. He actually saved the Raiders from a delay of game. They were letting the play clock run out. So the point that he made no sense. If I saw that correctly, I'm pretty sure there was like 4 seconds left on the play clock when he called the timeout, and he said that, well, he knew they were going to run the ball. I mean, they were on the 42. You definitely didn't know they were going to run the ball.
Bullshit. Then if he knew that, then he also knew that they were trying to run the damn clock
exactly.
out.
So it made no sense whatsoever. And he was saying that he wanted to get his run defense out there, which I also want to see. I know that maybe Toast will do this and like look at the personnel that was out on the field and then look at the personnel that actually played after the timeout to see if he actually did make some substitutions, because I would like to know that. But yeah, you don't call timeout there, man. When you have you're just basically saying, here, guys, like, don't you remember? Now, you could knock us out of the playoffs with it if you kick this field goal. And the Raiders were like, oh, shit. Derek Carr was animated coming off the field because he was pissed off that the Raiders were going to settle for the tie. And when they called the timeout, he walked off the field and he got in the face of Balsakia, who I think Jim Harbaugh should pump his brakes, because I don't know. I think he coached himself into at least another season. But yeah, man, like, you don't call. Derek Carr walks off the field, and when the Raiders actually decided to run the play and get the first down and get into field goal range, you saw how happy Derek Carr was. Like, he's a competitor. He wanted to win that football game. But maybe we got a new guy added to the list of who's next. I know that he was the darling head coach all season long. It's like this young, exciting team with Justin Herbert, and you got the new head coach that's doing all these weird things. But guess what? You're still the Chargers. You still chargered.
You said it last night. That's a fireable offense.
That's a fireable offense. Not to mention, and I understand analytics, and maybe this you could relate to this because I'm pretty sure it happened with your Dallas Cowboys this year, which McCarthy's definitely not an analytics guy. He just tries once in a while
he pretended he was to get that job.
To throw something in there. And what happens is when you go for it on 4th and 1 on your own 16-yard line, you set yourself back big time. The Chargers should have won that game outright. Just play football, man. Just play football.
Look, I'll give credit where credit's due because I hit send tweet when I said Dak was better than Justin Herbert, and then Justin Herbert went Joe Montana on this game. I have to give credit where credit's due. There was like 18 fourth down conversions at the chart. How many times did I tell you, Dina? Hey, Dina, one more play.
No.
Yeah.
One more play.
Now I'm talking
one more
here.
play. And it just kept happening.
Just to touch on this, he said nobody should play for a tie, would have been total shit.
That's bullshit.
You're
though.
a Steelers fan, and I understand. They didn't play for a tie. Those teams played to win the game. In that situation, though, the Raiders weren't stupid to play for the tie. They were playing it safe, although you don't want to really go into Arrowhead. You'd rather get the 5 seed over the 7 seed. Whatever. You don't want to play for the tie. I agree. They didn't play for the tie, but in that spot where there's 40 seconds to go, you're not necessarily in field goal range. The only thing that could happen is something bad. You don't really play for the tie there.
Well,
that said, how sick would it have been if the
why
Steelers didn't get in the playoffs because of a tie? Like there would have been 2 ties.
It would have been the
that
biggest
kept the
narrative
out.
in the whole world. And congratulations to the Steelers, who, again, we'll get into their game in a second, but like I wrote them off for dead, right? And they should be, because this game should have been a tie. And why I say that is because, and it's the same thing I was telling Dina. It was the same thing I was telling my brother, who was watching it on delay, by the way. That was rough. My brother's was streaming it. So he was like 10 seconds behind. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, dude, stop. And I was like, what do you mean? Then he explained to me what the hell was going on. But here's the thing. The only way, now remember, everybody knew the scenario. If this game went to a tie, both teams get in, right? That is 110% fact, right? So the Raiders have the ball. The game is tied. They realize they're going to, you know what? They realized that. They said, you know what? They're right. We're going to get to the playoffs. Let's just sit on this thing. And they started to do that. And when the Chargers called timeout, that lit a fire under everybody in Las Vegas. But then I still thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute. Regardless of the fire that's lit under you, the only way the Raiders lose this game at that very point was to try to field goal, because it could have got blocked and the Chargers could have took it back and won the game that way.
I think that they were still
insured yourself.
I think the Raiders were still. I think they were still in the realm of like, okay, we're gonna run the ball. They just got 11 yards up the middle.
The chunks were plentiful. I get it. The chunks were plentiful, but I'm saying the only way the Raiders could have lost that game, guaranteed, or not guaranteed, but a chance, would be is to kick the field goal and something go awry. Right? All you had to do was say, hey, assholes. This is what I would have did as the pistachios, Balsacchia, whatever the hell his name is, right? This is what I would have said to him. From across the way, I would have said, as Rick, I would have said, hey, jerk off. I'm trying to run the clock out so we can both get to the playoffs. And then Staley should have been like, shit, you're right. You're right. Let's just take a knee. And then Pistachio was like, nah, fuck off. And then went and kicked the field goal.
It basically was that. And then he was like, oh, shit. No, it was like he was reminding him. Well, there doesn't need to be an actual, you're not going to be like,
you might be like, hey,
no,
buddy.
I think it was pretty evident what the Raiders were doing in that situation when they let the play clock run down to fucking 3 seconds.
Now here's where I'm at. The game happens, right? And Ken Palman, I know you played to win the game. I get it.
To tie the game.
Oh, to tie the game. But anyway, I know it could have happened. But we all saw what happened last year at the end of the 2020 season with the Eagles and the Giants, right? All the Eagles had to do was win a game, and then it'll put the Giants in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Remember that whole they literally took a knee on live TV basically and said, we don't care about this game. We don't care about the Giants. What the Raiders just did to the Chargers, I'm telling you right now, this is going to turn into, if it wasn't already, this is a blood feud going forward.
Bro, you could go back to the Kellen Winslow game with the Raiders. They've been feuding for a really long time already.
This ignites that big-ass flame that's in the Death Star. This flame will be forever ignited because you have both had a chance to make the playoffs, and because of a brain fart, according to Staley, that was like, oh, I have personnel problems. You're full of shit. I don't know what you were trying to do, but you did it wrong, and because you did it wrong, you set your team back because the Raiders now will beat that ass every single year. This is an incredible game. Don't get me wrong. One of the greatest games I've watched live. And when I'm sitting there on my couch by myself, I'm like reacting like, I'm by myself. Like, I'm like so excited to watch this game. It's midnight. I was tired. I was half asleep at one point, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then shout out to NBC. NBC put the graphic up with 6 minutes to go in the game. The Raiders were up 12. And they they were up 17, 16, whatever.
Yeah, I was getting congrats DMs and
15.
stuff.
They were whatever, 15. They're putting up the thing like, well, they'll play this one over here, and then we'll play this one over here, and they were doing the music, and I'm like, wait, what the frick just happened?
Yeah, well, good for Steelers fans because they got in, right? At the end of the
Steelers
day,
guys get in.
Happy, I guess
you could survive another week.
Happy for Big Ben to get another shot at something.
How much of that shot's going to last?
I will say this: it would have been a shitty way to end your career watching that game.
Guys, there were, and I know if you watched the game, you saw this. There were Steelers fans in the crowd with their Steelers jerseys. Like they went to this game based off knowing if this game ends in a tie, we're out. You know, I said in Chop Sports, I said, please almost hug a Steelers fan right now because they're going through it. Like they're sitting there. It's going to happen. And when the Raiders started running that ball in that drive with no aspirations of really trying to hit a big play, I was like, Steelers are done. They're done. And here they are. They're in the playoffs again. So the Fog's here. Staley has had a ton of questionable calls this season and has displayed horrible situational awareness. Well, again, Gooch just said it. This could be fireable. It won't be. Like he's too young, and they love the guy, I guess. But if I'm the GM of the Chargers right now, and I had a chance to make the playoffs by just sitting there and sitting back and doing nothing, and you don't, that is the biggest Chargers chargered of all time.
It's not great.
Not great at all. So long time. Charlie Cuckoo, do you remember the Oh God, here we go. No, Djokovic
trying to get us to talk tennis.
Well, here's the thing. I think he won his court case. That guy. And he gets to play in whatever open with the COVID and all the other crap. Anyway, that's our tennis talk for the day. Thank you very much. Hey, Charlie, if you want to start a tennis podcast, come on down, bro. We love you. But yeah, anyway, O+ coming in. John Harbaugh sucks losing all close games. Go to the go.
Got to go.
Oh, got to go. Sorry. Go to the go. Jesus Christ. I'm all fired up. So anyway.
I'm pretty sure maybe Jim Harbaugh will take that job. If you want to talk about taking jobs that aren't available yet, why don't you just be like, oh, I really throw my name in the hat for the Ravens job.
You know what? It's shout out to Fish, Mike Fisher of the Cowboys. He's one of the senior writers for Sports Illustrated. He's been there since I'm talking Aikman days, right? Even before that, he came out and said, looks like the lead candidates for the Denver and Jacksonville job are Dan Quinn. And this is before Fangio was even fired. And I was like, shout out to giving our defensive coordinator a job that doesn't exist. You asshole. Stop.
It exists now.
It exists now. Yeah, but Jesus Christ. Stop.
I think you're going to have to, I don't think that your post about him building his legacy in Dallas.
Did that just happen, Kyle? Is that breaking news? John Harbaugh signing an extension through 2025? Because if that's the case, then this whole thing is over. But in any event,
it would be the most Jim Harbaugh thing to do to sign the extension and then get hired by an NFL team a week later. Means nothing. I guarantee you it means nothing. James Franklin signed an extension with Penn State, and basically his name is still involved.
Last year he signed the extension. That doesn't matter. Money talks. We'll see what happens.
He came out yesterday and said that the rumors are true. He is definitely entertaining an NFL job. 100%.
Well, you know who actually confirmed that was one of the recruits' fathers.
Yeah, the recruit father said he told my son.
Yeah, he's like, hey, listen, he wants me to come to Michigan, but there's an NFL job that might be available and I might leave. So shout out to the Michigan program being unable this year to recruit, because if Harbaugh's on the fence, you're not getting the players. Sorry.
I mean, I would probably not want. I wouldn't even want to go play for Jim Harbaugh.
Deion Sanders recruiting like the number 2 receiver in the country after doing the number 1 corner. They all want to play for prime time. That's what I would do. Shit. Anyway, moving on. What's the next? Oh, Saturday games. So here's a Saturday slate. After all, this game was predicted by us, saying that the Chiefs would definitely win, but they wouldn't cover. We both nailed this one. But actually, you know what? Yeah, put the winning graphic up. We got to give credit where credit is due. Ladies and gentlemen, congrats to the champ. Gooch is your picks champion. He went 10-6 last week. I went 7-9. He wins it by 4 games. Congratulations. There's your trophy. That's the only trophy you're going to get is a graphic. I'm not actually getting you a trophy. But then again, I'm thinking maybe we should have some kind of trophy.
I will say this. I was 5 games below 500 going into week 16, and I put up 2 back-to-back double-digit weeks, and I finished strong above 500. Very, very happy about that, honestly. I just wanted to go above 500 and beat Dave. My season is complete. cap it off with a Super Bowl victory, and I'm good to go.
Well, I was going to say maybe this is the only trophy that you win this year because maybe it's like little reverse where I derail you in the NFC Championship.
You got some games to win, bro.
Oh, don't I know it?
Let's not talk about it. You got 2 games to win before you see us now. So
okay, here we go. So with that being said, Saturday's game, the Broncos came to play and win that game. Drew Lock showing some wheels. Sure as shit ain't showing any arm. He's just not a good thrower of the football, but he's got wheels. He was making plays, but ultimately the Chiefs get this one done. They're 12-5. They could have gotten the 1 seed, but they didn't.
He couldn't have matched my picks. I was ahead.
Yeah, he was ahead 1 game. I would have to have picked.
And honestly, you saw us. He was actually the guy last week that was like commending us for not going off each other's picks. Like we were completely.
Yeah.
I picked it straight up. That would be soft, but also there's no playoffs on the line.
This is true.
So,
there's no picks playoffs.
If there was like $2,000 on the line, I'd be like, Dave, why don't we do something like this? Like,
why don't we both
1,200, 800, right?
But then
I'm winning now, so I'm giving myself the extra win,
right?
And we could have just kept it like,
congratulations
give you a win.
to Gooch. He gets himself the dub and the title and wear the championship belt. Chiefs defense still stinks. Yeah, they do actually. The fact that the Broncos were doing what they were doing, it does kind of raise some eyebrows. However, the Chiefs had a chance to be the 1 seed with the win and a Titans loss, but that didn't happen. We'll get into that game in a second.
The Chiefs defense stinks against the run.
And that's what you said.
Yeah,
and that's why this game will be close.
That's why I picked Denver. I said, Denver could run the football. That was their path. Were you? Yeah, we both.
Yeah, no, we both picked this game. I said, yeah, this is more than likely going to happen the way it's going to happen.
So you had a rough Sunday then, huh?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you started 2-0 on Saturday, and then you.
Yeah. I shit the bed after that. But anyway, we'll get into it. But anyway, so this game comes and goes. The Chiefs now are in line to play the Steelers, I believe, if that's the way it all played out. I believe, right? Yes.
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Steelers.
Chiefs and Steelers. Okay, so the Chiefs, the potential for Big Ben to derail Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, folks, I don't see it, but we'll pick those games on Friday with, I believe, the Sauce. We'll see if he gets back in here for another Lean Friday playoff edition.
I don't think that's the matchup we have to worry about, but we'll talk about the matchups later in the week.
Yeah, for sure. So Chiefs get it done. Then Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, in a game where it didn't mean anything to anybody, but apparently it did because now the Cowboys have found themselves in the 3 spot, and the only way they could have done that is if they took care of business on Saturday night. And that's what they did. Not only did they take care of business on Saturday night, they beat the shit out of the Philadelphia Eagles. And here come the Warriors of the night saying, it's our backups. It's just the 3rd stringer, this guy and that guy. Great. Still the NFL. You give up 51 points, you're scrubs. And now Tom Brady's going to really just bend you over. That's what I think might happen. But in any event, the Cowboys get it done. Dak Prescott breaks Tony Romo's record for most touchdowns thrown in a season as a Cowboy. Zeke gets over 1,000 yards. The Cowboys also set a record in this game where 22 different Dallas Cowboys scored a touchdown. It's never been done in NFL history throughout the course of a season. And the last touchdown comes from Jaquan Hardy, our 4th string running back there, Eagles. You couldn't stop that? Like, what the hell? But anyway. Eagles.
Dave is hanging the banner now, ladies and gentlemen.
No. I was excited. Me and my brother very calmly watched that game together, said, this is great. High fives every touchdown. And when they gave up plays, I'm like, they're atrocious. They also were down Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, and their entire defense Curse was out. But now the horses are back into this race, and the Cowboys have won the division, and they've swept the NFC East, which is not, according to real stats, is not the worst division in football, because that would be the NFC North, in which Gooch's Packers play. That is the worst division in football, not the NFC East. 17-17, third quarter. Your team is going to get bounced by the 49ers.
I think Detroit would probably beat up on the Giants, and they would probably beat up on the football team if they played.
17-17 in the third quarter. He does make an absolutely correct point. It was tight all game, and I was kind of a little nerve-wracked about that. I'm like, wow, we can't stop the run for shit, and it's just getting ugly. And I'm not about to sit here and say that I'm confident that the Cowboys can go out and win a playoff game, because obviously I'm scarred for life. And that's just not how I roll. I can't go in there and say the Cowboys are going to beat up on every team they face in the playoffs. I'm nervous. We'll get into it. We'll get into who their opponents are based off the rest of this result. But the Cowboys finish 12-5 after finishing 6-10 last year. Where's Mike McCarthy's nod for Coach of the Year? That's what I want to know. I'm kidding. The snarl you just came up with, I was like, all right, calm down. I'm not serious here.
Read the shirt.
I know. Read the shirt. That guy's gonna win.
This is how he feels.
Yeah, this is how he feels. AFC South is bad as well. And Ken, by the way, the Dallas Cowboys will be taking on the AFC South next year and the NFC North. So it's already in some kind of mind, like some kind of brain, that if the game is played in September or October, me and Gooch got to go out there. My brother will get out there. We got to get out to Lambeau. It's a bucket list thing. Road trip to Lambeau Field next year. We'll see. But anyway, here we go. Moving on to the, a game that in which, a lot of people kind of picked the lines because they figured that the Packers were already mailed it in. They got the 1 seed. Nothing can happen outside of injuries.
All smiles on the sideline in the second half. That game didn't matter. Next.
Is that all you want to
do? No. Shout out to Detroit. I'm not going to sit here and use this to talk about the Packers because we're going to do that all week for the next 2 weeks, right? The Packers did what they did. Aaron Rodgers came out. Shout out to Matt LaFleur getting his guys out there. We got Bakhtiari back. Jair will definitely be back. It allows us to play man coverage. It makes the defense a lot better. We got our starting center back.
I thought you Dina, did he just say I'm
brushing over it, but then I'm just getting that out of the way. Now that's out of the way. The Detroit Lions, man, 11-6 against the spread this year. If you talk about how bad,
which by the way, it just says 11. I guess I hit backspace by accident.
Fine, that's fine. They cover the spread 11 times this year. Yeah. For a team that's got 3 wins and a tie, covering the point spread 11 times, they fought hard. Basically, Dan Campbell, I'll say this: he's not on the chopping block because he's the perfect guy for a team
gritty
that sucks
out of Detroit,
because he gets this team to fight. How many backdoor covers do you see out of Detroit this year? They're down 50 points to the 49ers week 1.
Here comes Goff.
And they come back and they score 40 on their own and they backdoor cover. If that wasn't an indicator as to how Detroit's season was going to go, I don't know what was. Because you look at them all year, they fought hard. Even in this game, we're talking about Joe Judge running a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 on inside his own 4, and you have Dan Campbell running fake punts any opportunity he got. There was 4, I counted 4 triple reverses in that game yesterday. Two of them they ended up throwing touchdowns on, right? The Detroit Lions fight hard. They were a fun team to watch.
That's the recipe to take down the Packers. Get a couple trick plays.
There's another recipe too. It's they don't care about the game and you do. My niece was watching the game with me. And
what
she
about
was like,
the fact?
She was like, it's kind of cute. She was like, the Packers are letting them win.
Your niece said
My niece said that.
Oh, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
Where is Kyle? Did he fall asleep?
Yeah, Kyle was waiting for this.
Kyle, go back to bed, Kyle. You're right.
Will ask you this,
go back
Gooch.
to sleep. Nobody cares what Kyle has to say about this game.
You put out a tweet, which you don't do a lot of. Little story broke this right before the weekend. And it wasn't us talking about the Washington Commanders. It was the fact that Boomer Esiason got a text from an unknown source. See, you won't give him up either.
He probably got his text from like the girl that blew Antonio Brown before the
somebody also
game.
posed as Matt Flynn and said, it's Matt Flynn. I know things, right? Like, so this whole thing, by the way, if anybody doesn't know the story, there was a rumor that if the Packers were to make it to the Super Bowl, which again, there's a nice little likelihood percentage on that Aaron Rodgers in protest would sit out and just F the NFL, screw your ratings. Jordan Love, it's your turn.
The quote was Aaron Rodgers reportedly told Jordan Love to, quote, be ready.
Right.
Like, wait, what? Now let's really, really think about this, or not. Let's just move on past it because come on, boom.
Yeah, boom.
Nobody cares about you anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a hit to the ego. That's for sure. The only thing, they debunked it relatively fast, but the only thing Boomer said was that the source that texted him was credible. That's all.
Okay, can I just show this real quick? No.
Sorry.
This is a bottom 5 defense. That's what Kyle's talking about. I'm going to pull the clip on Friday when Kyle was talking about, I just don't want to go to Green Bay. I want to avoid Green Bay. You want to avoid a bottom 5 deep? Yeah, on the show.
I said I want to go to Green Bay.
On the show. And if it wasn't on the show, it was definitely before the show. We were talking about how the Dallas seedings were going to go. And he literally said, I just don't want to go to Green Bay. Anything to avoid Green Bay. All of a sudden, you want to avoid the top of a bottom 5 defense in the NFL? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You think CeeDee Lamb wants to play in the fucking cold? Stop.
Now he's talking shit. I'm right here. He acts as if I'm not right here. Minding my own business, and he's worried about Kyle. Kyle barely likes the Cowboys, okay? Let's just be reminded that he is a professional handicapper.
I think before we even talk about that, I want to talk about a little bit of Debo Samuel is a little bit of a problem you got to worry
Can we
about.
not?
I'm talking about Kyle here, Dave.
Oh.
Sit this one out.
Oh, all right. I'll be right back, guys.
Fake news. I'm comfortable playing anyone in the NFC. Yes. So, case in point.
He did say it, so he's admitting it. So he's
case in point. He
all right.
said fake news. No, that's real news.
Well,
you just
basically,
debunked your own fake
maybe
news.
you worded it differently.
Yeah. Okay. Scoop. We got a Chop Sports playoff pool going. That Scoop is running.
I thought I said that.
Did we?
I thought I said it in the open. Maybe
I don't
I did.
know.
There was so much crap.
We have
going
a couple pools going, so be on the lookout in the Chop Sports Facebook group today. We'll post links, and we will also post it in the Instagram story and on our Twitter. So for anybody that wants to get involved with the Chop Sports pools, they'll be out there.
Playoff time, baby.
Kyle.
So anyway, moving on. So the Packers get a loss. Congratulations. I bet the Lions won that game. +4, baby. And they won outright. So this game was another one that you definitely had to just pay attention to because back and forth, 17-0. And then Kyle, what does he do? Dave, send me the clip. And I said the Rams would win and blow out fast. I said, bro, it's the first quarter. Send me the clip. And I was like, here's the clip. You can have it. Before the clip wasn't even done being sent yet, and the 49ers scored a touchdown. And I was like, you might want to pump the brakes on all this. And sure as shit, the 49ers balled out at the end. Jimmy G, Debo Samuel, that entire defense also played amazing down the stretch. Did you see McVay run to the end zone and celebrate in the end zone for that first touchdown to Higbee?
Hate Sean
He's
McVay.
giving me
Can we stop this shit?
Pete Carroll vibes all day long.
He's
Can
such a
we stop?
douche.
At first, when he first got his job, I'm like, oh, boy wonder, young guy. He looks good. He's a stud. Like, oh, he's a genius, too. How about that to boot, right? Now he's just like too rah-rah. Like,
He's 0-6 against his boy.
who's his boy?
Shanahan.
Right. You can't beat the 49ers. So the 49ers get the win, and obviously they've slotted themselves. The Rams actually won the division before the game was over. We knew that because the Cardinals, we'll talk about the Cardinals and the Seahawks in a second, but they lost their game. So they kind of knew it. And I don't know if they're scoreboard watching or anything like that, but they knew they had the game in hand. And the 49ers were in a situation where they had to win. They had to win to get in because the Saints took care of business. If the 49ers would have lost, you have Taysom Hill, who just got hurt, and Trevor Siemian in the playoffs, right? So the 49ers had to win their game. They took care of business. They did their thing, and now the 49ers are in.
And bro, let's not brush over the fact that what Jimmy G did in the fourth quarter in this game, right? I think that everything that happened yesterday is kind of overshadowing that he was really the star of Sunday. They were down a minute. They were down a touchdown with a minute to go, no timeouts, and he drives them down the field in Aaron Rodgers form.
Within like clicks, like
Yeah,
boom,
3
boom,
plays.
boom, done.
It was like and hitting a no-name receiver. Three of those plays went to a guy that I don't even know his name still, right? And he caught the touchdown. I think it was Juwan Jennings, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's another guy I got to worry about all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, right? So Jimmy G, man, he orchestrated the comeback. They were dead in the water, dead to rights, and the season was over at that point. And Jimmy G, what does he do? He wins football games, and he probably saved himself a job for next year in San Francisco, I think.
I just want to debunk something. I am
Dina
notorious
thinks
for
McVay's
saying
hot.
that Sean McVay is a douchebag.
All right, well,
he's just
yeah,
trying
so
to get
she's
fired up.
debunking that one. But I will say, in a losing effort, Paulman brought it up before. Shout out to Cooper Kupp, bro. Triple crown, man. Like, you kidding me? This guy should win MVP. I think so.
Stop.
I think so. I think
You
it's
sound
time.
So foolish.
I think it's time to move on from the quarterback-driven award. If you want to give the quarterback, just name a quarterback of the year.
Okay, so
Look, your boy's going to win it.
No. I'm
not
just trying
saying-
to paint a picture for you. Forget about it, right? He's going to win it. And but my point is, like, would you still think that if the roles were reversed right now and you flip the numbers and Dak had Aaron Rodgers' numbers and they were the 1 seed, it would be Dak's MVP. If anyone said anything differently, you might even explode. You might actually explode.
But there's a conversation to be had, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for Offensive Player of the Year. But let's stop. Calvin Johnson didn't win MVP the year that he went nuts.
He also never won a playoff game. In any event, it doesn't matter.
Did Cooper Kupp win a playoff game this year?
Not yet.
Does that matter if he does?
No, but I'm saying
Does it-
overall body of work.
Does it matter if he won a playoff game in his career prior to this? Does it matter if he was vaccinated or not?
By the way, there is a big argument to be had here. Scoop said hot guys can be douchebags. Just look at Gooch. That is facts, my friend. He is a douchebag. That's all I'll go. That's all.
My coach ain't a douchebag. He's actually one of the. You see him giving the in-game interview,
No.
the halftime in-game interview with Pam Oliver. Like that's how you know where the Packers were at with this one. There was like 2 minutes to go before half, and Matt LaFleur is doing the interview with Pam Oliver.
That's douchey. That's very douchey.
She went up to him.
Well, then that's very unprofessional of her.
And it was like
and for him to respond and say, "Hey, lady, I got a game to
He
play."
didn't necessarily look happy.
So I'm saying, like, you can't,
but
don't be intrusive.
he was also a little upset about the way the game was being played.
Steve, for the Fog coming in, no receivers in NFL history who've completed the Triple Crown has ever won MVP. Fine, bro. I'm just saying the guy deserves to be very, very up there in the conversation.
Look, yes.
I'm not saying he had a better year than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not trying to discount Cooper Kupp's accolades this year. This dude balled out, right?
I just know
he proved me wrong in a few ways.
I just know that the definition of most valuable player means if you take that player away from the team, they're not as effective. Significantly not as effective. Yes, if Rodgers ain't the quarterback,
bro,
the fucking Packers would stink.
The Packers didn't have an offensive turnover since week 8, right? And they had 3 in the second half yesterday with Jordan Love.
Okay, so Dak Prescott's last 5 games, he's thrown 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. Does that mean let's jump him up?
No. My point being is week 8 is longer than what you just said, right? And it's not just Dak.
By a month.
My point is, Aaron Rodgers doesn't turn the ball over. You take Aaron Rodgers off that team and you put Jordan Love in, and you see the difference that he makes right away.
All I'm saying is
3 turnovers in one half.
All I'm saying is they need to turn it into the Quarterback of the Year award or something. Because if it's a quarterback-driven league, we get that, but there was never going to be. Look at Cooper Kupp did, and he's not even going to get a
look
vote.
At the MVP. We all know this is a quarterback award. Let's not have the conversation Aaron Rodgers is going to win it. Let's have the conversation another year for my sake. Also, we all know that's a shitty award because look at the guy that's voting for it just said last week. We all know this, right? It's across the board. The writers suck. MVPs suck except for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, moving on. So good job for the 49ers. We'll see your asses on Sunday afternoon. So we'll get more into that.
I just got to touch this. If you take Aaron Rodgers off and put in Mahomes, that doesn't have any bearing on it whatsoever.
I didn't see what
because you're taking like 1 and 1A in the league right now. Of course that's the case. But if you take Aaron Rodgers off the Packers and put Kirk Cousins there, I guarantee you they're the Vikings. And the Vikings are the Packers.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor and Kupp being considered, absolutely, but the fact that the quarterback award is stupid, and I agree with you on this, Dave. So that's coming from the Fog, who is an Eagles fan. Good luck to your Eagles. Carl coming in. Good luck, Dave. I don't know which one that is, but thank you.
That's my brother.
Okay, well, yeah, good luck. You're dead to me. But anyway, okay, you're dead to me on Monday morning when it all goes awry for the Cowboys. Anyway, next game. This one doesn't have to talk a lot about it, but the Cowboys could have moved up to the 2 seed had Carolina been competent, but they're not. They stink, and that season's over. But they did before this game. The only actual news that came out of Carolina was that Matt Rule was safe next year. I think that's kind of garbage too. But in any event, you got to find a quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven league. We just said it. Get yourself a quarterback.
Yeah, this guy's
Cam Newton.
had 2 seasons in Carolina, and he's had Teddy Bridgewater half a season, right? Didn't he kind of get hurt last year?
Yeah, probably.
So he's had Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, and Cam Newton.
Tampa Bay scored 41 points, right? With basically nobody. You know, Mike Evans is in there, but you said that their receivers are kind of depleted without Antonio Brown and Godwin. Does that kind of impress you at all, Gooch? Like the fact, is Tampa Bay going in, getting hot right now?
No,
at the right
Gilmore
time?
didn't play, right? So they were without their best corner, and Panthers weren't playing for anything. And no, it doesn't surprise me.
Joe Palumbo coming in. When is the discount code coming for merch coming
Today.
for Gold members? Today. Yeah, of course. That's already up, but we'll give you your own personal. Well, you want to do a general
No.
one, right?
The Gold members is a $25 gift card, so that there is going to be a general lifetime 10% off for the Patreon members. But anybody that's Gold gets an automatic 25. I'm just going to do it once a week because I don't want to have to do it 13 times a week for each time someone subscribes. So,
all right. So
every Monday.
If you do want to support Chop Sports, patreon.com/Chop Sports. You get yourself some discounted merch, VIP access to all of our events coming up this year in 2022 and more. If you're watching this video, please subscribe to the account right now. I had a goal by Super Bowl. Well, I thought it was a goal over the weekend. I said, I want this by the weekend. But Gooch said it's by Super Bowl. So we have a goal of 500 at the very least. We're at 478 right now. So if you're out there and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Share this page, share the stream, tell them Chop Sports sent you, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, sure. Chop Sports.
I know Ken. I know.
What?
Ken.
What is Ken saying?
Just poking the bear. He knows how to get a rise.
He does.
Pause.
Next. Hello. Next. Do we have any other games that we actually give a shit about? No, I'm kidding. Next is, this one I sure as hell don't, because I did bet the Jets, and I bet their team total, and I bet the over in the game. I bet all sorts of shit on this Jets game. You are piss poor. I hate your guts. The only thing I'll say about the Jets, did anybody else notice, and I said this on Twitter, and I've said this, were the lights off in Buffalo? Did it look weird to you?
It was pretty dim.
It was dim, right? Like it felt like a high school football game.
It's almost like
I don't think I watched the play.
Right.
Was this game played at 1, right?
No, it was 4.
Oh,
it was dark.
I was
That's why I'm saying
very
it was
much
dim.
wrapped up in the NFC West. What was going on there? I did not care about this game whatsoever.
Well, in any event, the Bills get done. They're going into the playoffs red hot right now. They win the AFC East, and they'll be taking on the Patriots. So that's interesting. We'll see how that third matchup plays out. We'll get more into it as the week goes on because there's a lot to dive into. Yeah, so that's that. Next, another game. Doesn't matter because the Saints did win. They did their part. They tried to get into the playoffs. Doesn't work. The Falcons probably may have seen the last of Matt Ryan. I guess that's the big storyline here.
No, I think that Arthur Smith, I think the head coach really doesn't have much of a bearing on how that plays out in the offseason. But Arthur Smith, that's his name? Right? Arthur Smith?
Yes.
He came out and said that Matt Ryan is 100% his quarterback next season. But the thing is, he doesn't make those calls. The GM does. We'll see. Hopefully for Matt Ryan, he does get another season there because I don't know that anyone else is going to kick the tires on Matt Ryan as a starter. They might be holding bring him in to compete for a job and see who gets drafted.
Reminds
this
me of
year,
Cap Rooney from the greatest football movie ever. That's Any Given Sunday.
I could see him going to Denver.
Denver? Okay, that could be a. They got to start over. They're not going to start over with a 30-some-odd-year-old quarterback.
If you put Matt Ryan on that team, Atlanta had some decent games this year.
They didn't have much talent outside of Pitts and Patterson.
Offensive line.
They lost. What's this guy?
Denver has some weapons on the outside. Just 2 years ago, Atlanta's offense was throwing the ball all over the field, and that was Matt Ryan doing it. So he was a big.
They also had Julio
guy.
Jones.
Yeah, but my point is, if they have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and those 2 running backs, and Noah Fant, that's a good compliment. I think Matt Ryan could do some things over there.
Ed Oregon should coach the Giants. Go Tigers. He should go coach the Giants. That'll be funny. Next game, Dino. What else we got here? Yes. The very hot button topic is the Dolphins starch the Patriots, sweep the Patriots, finish 9-8, over 500. And what do they do today? Head coach, you're fired.
So
What?
There has to be more going on.
There's got to be something going on that I'm not seeing. And again, my phone is available for light up and nothing is coming up.
Patriots backing into the playoffs. I don't think that really matters. I know that they wanted this game because they had the division crown was within reach, but Buffalo is playing the Jets, so I don't know how really
just kind of
realistic that
knowing
was.
that the Jets weren't going to put up a pulse.
Well, no, they went into it trying to win the game because you saw what happened in Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
so the Patriots backing into the playoffs 10-7. They're going to go to Orchard Park to play their wild card game. Not too much to talk about here other than the fact that Flores was fired off a win. It just doesn't make any sense. And the fact that they finished the year the way they did, it's like you won like 9 of your last 10 games and you're fired. Like, holy Christ.
Yeah.
The Titans lock up the 1 seed by beating up on the Texans. Not saying beating up. They actually didn't cover, which I was very disappointed about. But the Titans are moving on. They now have a bye in the first round. So now King Henry will be back in 2 weeks to play whoever they play. Interesting. Obviously, the kid, you write him off for the year, and that's not the case. So now he's going to be playing football again. Will he be in game shape? I don't know. He's never really been like a Mr. in shape guy. He's just been a bruiser. And if he can do 90 or 80% of what he was doing, it's better than what the Titans were trying.
Him being out there is going to be huge for them. No matter if he's in game shape or not, just him being there, it changes the way you have to play the game. So we'll find out how he is. I don't know. It's a foot injury. He's a bigger guy. He's got all those carries piled up. Hard. But at the end of the day, him getting 2 months mid-season to get a break and then come out fresh, you don't know, man. Like Derrick Henry.
How did Akers do? What was his stat line? He played yesterday.
He played. I didn't.
I saw a couple runs. I was just excited to see him.
It was a very much a committee in LA, which we expect.
Yeah, Sonny Michel, saw him a bunch. All right, so Titans get the bye. Congratulations to them. Good luck going forward. Here's the big game that, again, means a lot now because the Steelers had to get it done. The Ravens had an opportunity to win it. They did multiple times. But now the Big Ben story and saga and journey and chapter and everything else lives on. We got at least one more week of Big Ben and Coach Tomlin.
Okay.
I think Kyle sparked up the biggest debate on Chop Sports, the Facebook group, the other day about talking about Tomlin not being a good head coach. And I guess there was some people that took offense to it, the fact that, but they've had winning seasons for 15, 20 years, however long he's been there, right? You think there's any justification behind that? Does Tomlin get a pass because of the fact that they haven't had a losing season? Because they haven't had any winning seasons either in the last, by winning, I mean championships.
I
How much? This is like a Jason Garrett.
I think that there's a couple factors here. One, the Steelers have a really long leash on their head coaches. Obviously, they've had 3 in my dad's lifetime, right? I'm pretty sure they've only had 3 head coaches for the last 55 years.
Oh, what's that? Overrated.
I'm not saying that he's a bad head coach because obviously he has the respect of his players and his peers, but there is a case to be made for his mismanagement of star talent and star players in Pittsburgh because every single time, but that could be more of a front office thing. It's not the coach's job to get involved with that shit, but everybody seems to be unhappy when they're on their way out of Pittsburgh, but that's the NFL, man. Everybody always feels, and when we're talking about mismanagement of star talent, we're talking about Le'Veon Bell, who just bashed Andy Reid. These guys are having issues wherever they go, wherever they leave, I should say. Antonio Brown. I mean, outside of those 2 guys, could you point to another guy in Pittsburgh that he didn't have a good relationship with? I mean, Hines Ward, great relationship. Big Ben, great relationship. The Pouncey guy, great relationship. All the players coming back. James Farrier with the injury, great relationship. The defense, I'm imagining maybe Ryan Clark might not have a great relationship because he's in the media now. That's the only – but, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and bash Tomlin. He's been a good coach for a long time. I think he could be overrated, though. Yes.
Well, Kyle brought up the question saying how many coaches keep their jobs if they're not winning a single playoff game in 6 years. If you want to take the sample size of 6 years, you can go from 2014 to 2020. Jason Garrett won 1 playoff game in that stretch.
I think
he kept his job and then they fired him.
Making the playoffs, there's a lot to be said for that. In that division particularly, that's not an easy division to make the playoffs in with Baltimore. Look, Tomlin is who he is. I don't think that don't expect to see Tomlin go anywhere for the next 10 years because that's just how Pittsburgh
10 years.
I just don't see it.
What
are we going to do here? Let's think about it. You say 10 years. You say 10 years. Okay.
No, you said 10 years.
Who was their coach 10 years ago?
Mike Tomlin.
Who was their coach 10 years before that?
Probably Mike Tomlin.
No, Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher.
Who was the coach 10 years before that? Probably Bill
Chuck
Cowher.
Noll.
Bill Cowher. But then before that, Chuck Noll. So they've had 3.
I guess they don't like change.
So for me to say that Tomlin will be the Steelers coach in 10 years, that's not far-fetched at all.
I just feel like he's been there for a little while. But how many did Parcells win without Bill Belichick as defensive coordinator? 0. I know. Everybody knows that. But Bill Parcells is my guy. He's one of my favorite head coaches ever.
Bill Parcells never even made a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick on his staff.
He turned the Cowboys around by himself. Sean Payton was on staff, but
but there is something to be said for that.
Yeah,
great leaders and great head coaches put guys in
Bill
place,
Parcells
and they
is a great head coach.
Bill Parcells hired Bill Belichick. That's so that is a good hire. Bill Parcells bringing his people in. That's what you're doing. You're bringing in a guy to fix everything, and he fixed everything.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on. Good job to the Steelers making the playoffs. This one was the biggest shocker the entire afternoon. The Colts, who have been featured on Hard Knocks and everybody talking about Jonathan Taylor just running his ass off the entire season and just doing work. Carson Wentz this game, ladies and gentlemen. He is still the scrub we all know and love because he blew this game single-handed. He can't win the big game. It's incredible to me that you lost this game to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were literally hoping for the 1 pick, and they still got it. They still got it because the Detroit Lions beat the Packers. So not only did they get to ride off into the sunset with a win and a spoil of your division rival, you still get the first pick in the draft. The Jaguars, I know that their season was just up in smoke ever since they even hired Urban Meyer, right? Then you get rid of him, and you got this interim kid who just doesn't fit the system. That job is going to be coveted. Why? Because you have Trevor Lawrence. You have a up-and-coming running back game. James Robinson got hurt, but they have Etienne. They have receivers on the outside.
I don't know that job is coveted. I think that's set up to fail, and a lot of guys
Florida,
know that.
dog. Going to Florida.
You're going to Florida, but you're in Jacksonville. So that's isn't Jacksonville like the Panhandle? I don't know that that's really
Jacksonville.
Florida.
I've frequented Jacksonville a couple times.
Is there a beach in Jacksonville?
There is beaches in Jacksonville.
All right.
I just remember. I remember going down.
I don't know the
original plan was to go to North Carolina to see my boy Kev, who was in the Army at the time, 82nd Airborne, North Carolina. Then the plans changed. Like, hey, we're going to go to my aunt. She lives in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, all I have is pants. Like, I thought it was going to be cool because it's the coast, and now I got to go to Jacksonville. I went into Target to get jean shorts, and that's how I with my work boots the entire So I fit right into Jacksonville. By the way, I was like a made man in Jacksonville. But yeah. So anyway,
I guess maybe not a coveted
job.
A coveted job because it's been a fucking piss hole since they've been in the franchise. Essentially, they've had 2 AFC Championship appearances, but that's it.
Trevor Lawrence might be something. I mean,
I agree. I'm saying it's
Gotta get him a weapon.
way too early. I mean, it was his best game of the season, so it's good to end on a high note and get some confidence going into his offseason workouts. But show me the coach before I decide whether Trevor Lawrence will pan out.
I'm wondering also the same thing. Scoop, this is a question for the Jaguars fans. Like the whole clowns thing. I don't know if anybody saw that. There was a bunch of clowns, literally painted faces and all, red noses, and looked like Ronald McDonald. And I guess they were making fun of the GM.
The GM
was just calling him a clown, or does he look like a clown?
No, they're just saying that he's a clown.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. They saw the show last week. They saw the show last week when I did the Joe Judge clown graphic. They were like, "Oh shit, that's a great idea. Let's go to the game this week."
We should all look like clowns.
There were the only 6 people there.
Yeah, and they're all in the pool. They're all in the pool. So anyway, the Dallas Cowboys go to Jacksonville next year. Maybe I make my return to Jacksonville. Me and Scoop are gonna hang out in the pool in the end zone. Be terrible. Oh my goodness. What's next? Oh, the other worthless team in New York. Joe Judge, more than likely, still hasn't happened as we record this. It's 12:10 now in the afternoon. No Joe Judge movement. So
he's probably reading emails.
You're right. He's probably reading his 12 emails, 6 of them saying, "Way to go, coach. You're going to get him next time." And 6 of them saying, "Get out of town. You're garbage. Go away." The Washington football team, an abysmal season as well. Gooch and AJ, don't worry, AJ, you're still not off the hook for this one. You thought that Washington was going to win 12 games this year. They are a shit show. Their entire organization is garbage. They are going to be unveiling. That's going to be their big news on 2/2/22, in which hopefully Chop Sports got ahead of it. So we'll see. As we talked about in the open, if you want, go rewind and listen to the open about that. But the Giants lose again, 4-13. Gooch, give me one reason and one reason alone. Joe Judge stays as the head coach. Give me something. Give me a reason why this would still be a marriage between Giants and Joe Judge.
Because the front office doesn't know what they're doing.
Okay.
And
that's the only thing I could come up with.
And now I'm hearing that Gettleman kind of asked to be fired, I think, is the rumor that's going around. But it's almost as if he doesn't want to step down, which kind of sounds stupid at this point. Just if you don't want to be there anymore, just leave.
No, I think what he's asking for, is to like be kept within the organization, but let somebody else do the GM shit. And that's kind of his approach. And he'll probably get it because they're pussies in New York. Their ownership hasn't been great.
Fox, I mean, don't see the Giants firing Judge. They'll make excuses for the firing of their offensive coordinator and Daniel Jones' injury. First of all, you fired Jason Garrett as a complete scapegoat. That was like the team was in disarray.
I mean, they should have never hired Jason Garrett to begin with. I felt like that was a figurehead hiring and almost like a jab at the Cowboys, which just shows you that they're doing things wrong in New York right now. Okay. I can't see what they saw in Jason Garrett after what they've watched for the last decade that made them think that he would be effective for them, considering their personnel especially.
And again, I think it's tough sledding. But anyway, AJ, I know you wanted to pull up the original records, and I did do that on August the 26th, 2011. Ready for this? So I don't know what changed, because I know on the live show, you and AJ went, this team's going to win 12 games. But our August predictions, Gooch, you had them at 9-8. I had them at 7-10.
Because you want to know why?
Which they did. Nailed it. 7-10. It's right here, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
7-10.
Go through all of them before you start fucking tooting.
And AJ had them at 8-9.
But what I did was on that show, we did that show very loosely with Kyle. And then when we did our predictions, I went through every single game.
No, this wasn't Kyle's prediction. This was like we did like multiple.
That's my point.
Oh,
literally just said that. That for Kyle's predictions, we sat down and we just did a show. I got presented a team and I was like, fuck it. This many. Over, under, over. Why?
like a toddler. This many.
Yeah. And with our one that we actually did the graphic on, I went through the entire week 1. I went to every game. Win, loss, and then week 2 did every game.
But you found 12 out of Washington.
Well, apparently not. I found
that was before that.
No,
we did 2.
Dave,
we did 2. We did the over under. That was what it was.
Are you talking about with Kyle?
No, I'm not talking about with Kyle. We did over unders earlier.
I smoked too much weed to remember how many we did. If we did 3, then I'm going to pick which one I did the best on.
All I know is I nailed the Cowboys record. But anyway, Danny coming in. Judge will meet with his players in a few minutes, and expectation he will lead the meeting with an eye of the future. Same tone was struck into the meeting with the coaches a short while ago. What is that? Is that a report?
Also, Dave, make sure you give yourself all the credit in the world when your Super Bowl champion prediction comes through, because you also predicted Green Bay to win the Super Bowl this year. That same week.
Didn't I pick the Chiefs to go 20-0?
Well, then it wasn't that same week, but I will find where you're like the Packers.
You
I
won't.
got it.
You won't.
Oh, I will.
No, you won't.
I won't because I'm too lazy.
I'm just gonna. You said it. I didn't say it. I was gonna say.
And I shouldn't even say lazy. Lazy is definitely not the right word.
You're too busy to go
Very
look
busy,
into the world of.
I am 100% positive that you did at one point or another this year say that the Packers will win the Super Bowl.
So Danny's saying yes. That is
a report. Okay, so Judge is he's about to meet with his players in a few minutes with the expectation he will lead the meeting with an eye to the future. Same tone was struck in a meeting with coaches on short while ago. So what we're seeing is Judge is going to stick around and talk to his players and say, "Hey guys, don't worry, we'll get those 5 wins next year, and then we can all get on a boat again and do it all over again." Anyway, I'm done with the Giants. Move on. Game that, again, doesn't matter here. The only thing that does matter of this situation is that Mike Zimmer was fired and Matt Nagy was fired. That's got to be a first.
No.
What?
That the 2 coaches in the final week both got fired?
Yes.
I don't think that's a first.
That's got to be.
There's like 8 firings a year.
But
on
they
Black
play
Monday.
each other? Like, imagine that. Imagine the game's over. The Minnesota Vikings win, right? They meet at the 50-yard line to say good game and say, sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
They're going to both be interviewing for D coordinator jobs at the same place next week.
Zimmer's going to coach the Bears. Nagy's going to get hired by the Vikings. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
gracious.
yeah, Kirk Cousins is definitely on the hot seat.
Oh, Kirk Cousins' contract is on the hot seat. That entire thing is just a waste. In any event, that game just doesn't really matter.
Leave that graphic up for Giants fans.
Say what now?
Kenny Golladay was such a dope signing.
Guess what, guys? How you want to do trivia today on Monday? Why not?
Sure, I'm looking to win again.
How many touchdowns did Kenny Golladay score this
year?
Zero.
When was
How many touchdowns did Kadarius Toney, their first-round pick, score?
Zero. How many trivia questions have I gotten wrong in the last week?
I don't know.
Zero. Fucking killing it.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, there is a theme here that
Gooch
can do no wrong. Gooch the Gooch. Next, forget this game. This one has merit because of the fact that the Arizona Cardinals are now officially backing into the playoffs. They're going to be the 5th seed to take on the Rams on Monday Night Football, which, again, garbage. Don't like it. It's weird to put a playoff game on a Monday night. Yes, is it more football for us? Sure, let's digest. But the Seattle Seahawks go out on a winning note. Does this save either Wilson's future or Carroll's? I don't know. Again, nothing's happened with Pete Carroll yet. That conversation, because it wasn't like they went 7-10, they also didn't have Russell Wilson for like a month, right?
Yeah.
So they had to weather some storms. Maybe that goes into the decision to keep Pete Carroll, the fact that he just didn't have his guy, right? I mean, you can't go out there and win games.
I would say that you could pretty much point to Russ's injury as the main reason why this team isn't a playoff team. He missed 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it was about a month.
So if they go
might
2,
have been more than that.
I do think they did come away with a win in one of those games. But if they go 3-1 in that stretch, they're a playoff team, and they might have even played the Saints in that stretch. So, the Seahawks, they have talent on the offensive side of the ball. They even have some talent on the defensive side of the ball, and they do blitz a lot. But like I said earlier, I think the message has to change for Pete Carroll. I did say, while everybody loves to point out all their predictions, I did say that Seattle would spoil somebody's season this year, and it didn't spoil their season, but they did
knock them down a seed. It took them away.
They
from the
prevented
West.
them from winning the division.
They could have won the division.
Yeah, they could have won the Rams lost. So I was right about that. And Kyle, you were right that Arizona would not see 12 wins this year when they had 10, and I think there was 5 games to play. So good on Kyle.
Good job, Danny, telling me to check my alerts. It says it right there. Those are my kids, by the way.
He's officially staying in New York.
Yeah, he's officially staying in New York. That's a sad deal for the Giants and their fans. That just to me, that shows you that they're also staying with Daniel Jones 110%.
I would literally be sick to my stomach,
right?
If I was a Giant fan, right?
How do you think I felt as a Cowboy fan every year?
Absolutely,
Dallas will retain Jason Garrett. Dallas will
retain
retain Jason Garrett.
Do I have to say it?
I mean, you did the same thing with McCarthy, but now McCarthy's about to win a Super Bowl, so it's weird. But yeah, so the alerts are in. The Giants are sticking with Joe Judge, so he is not on the firing hot seat or anything like that. I think this is complete bad juju for the Giants.
What could the Giants do this offseason to make anything right?
That's what I'm saying. Like this, they have to blow it all up, and it usually starts with the head coach, the leader of this team. Are you also going to go into the new season with Freddie Kitchens as your offensive coordinator? Is that a thing? You gotta shake it up somewhere. Where's the shakeup happening?
I hope that you don't expect anyone to know what the Giants are about to do, because they certainly don't know what they're doing. So I don't know what they're doing.
Listen, they do have 2 top 10 picks. We'll get into the draft tomorrow. We want to talk about that tomorrow. A little bit of a draft order conversation. Right now, Gettleman is in line to make those picks.
Oh, what Scoop said, I hope Gettleman stays just for the comedy aspect of this, because he'll try.
Everybody come back.
Gettleman thinks that he's Cohen.
Yes.
The way he is with Twitter, like, should I trade my picks or should I shut the fuck up, dude? Nobody cares. Just actually let somebody else make them. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Like, no, you shouldn't trade them. Just let someone else do it. Try that.
All
right.
Gettleman just retired. We got breaking news.
What?
Gettleman just retired, according to Kyle Kerms. I think. I mean, if this is that could be a thing. Because
Imagine they were like, "You're keeping Joe Judge. I'm out. Fuck this. I can't deal with
Maybe.
it." But you hired him anyway.
I'm not seeing anything right off the rip, but
Josie
Josiah.
Anderson.
I hate Josiah Anderson. By the way, she sucks.
All right.
But anyway, Gettleman intended to retire. Another game that had no meaning outside of the fact that Joey Burrow sat this one out. Baker Mayfield didn't play this, but Browns get it done. They, so that says gentleman. By the way, gentleman retired. That's funny. So the Browns get it done, 8-9. Baker Mayfield, he the guy over there in Cleveland there, Gooch?
No.
God, no.
No? You think they're going to make a move?
Yeah.
You do?
Maybe not this year because, like I said, it's hard. Baker's under contract.
This is his last year.
Yeah, but I don't think Baker's the guy. No.
Wow.
No.
How much noise do you think the Bengals can make with their offense?
A lot.
Because they
A
play
whole
the
lot, yeah.
Raiders the first game. That's going
It's
to
a
be
tough
fun.
matchup for Oakland.
Yeah.
Or Vegas. I should
Vegas,
say.
Oakland, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. Who knows? They've moved a million times. All the gentlemen plan to retire.
It's got your brother laughing.
My brother's going crazy on this. My New York Post newspaper has told me today that Gettleman was retiring. So thank you, Janine, coming in for that source of information. Anyway, let's go. That's next.
The national championship.
All right. So we do have one more football game to talk about and pick today. Gooch, double or nothing? No, I'm kidding. There is one more game to play. It is the college football national championship goes down tonight. The line is -2.5. Have you ever seen Bama underdogs? Ever?
Yeah,
your
2
life?
weeks ago when they played in the SEC championship.
They were dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgia
Dogs
was
to the
number one-
dogs?
Georgia was the number one team in the country
Oh,
going into
yeah,
that
you're
game.
right. All right.
And Bama was
But
coming
that
off
line,
of like
that
a
line was bigger. than
Bama
this
was
one.
coming off of like a hiccup or two in the final month where they ended up winning the games, but they didn't look great. Come on, bro.
It's a
We don't know
crapshoot,
where
man.
I'm going with this one. It's not a crapshoot to me. I know Georgia played a lot better in the Michigan game than they did against Alabama, but they're not playing Michigan. They're playing Alabama. And what I saw in that game was a team that was a light years better than Georgia. I know Georgia's defense, front seven, they're really good, but Bryce Mitchell was the best player in the country this year. It's going to be tough to gather him up in the backfield. Even when you do get to him, he's a dual threat. Alabama's without their receiver apparently, but I don't think that matters because I make the joke all the time about you're going to see in 10 years
that the fifth receiver,
there's going to be a meme of the Alabama receiving room from this year, and it's going to be like 11 Hall of Fame receivers. So it doesn't matter who's out for this team because they're 4-star recruits through and through everywhere you go. And it's probably just going to be some freshman that's going to be a Heisman candidate in 2 years.
I think I'm going to empty the clip on Bama money line tonight.
Yeah.
I don't need those points. It's the Bulldogs, and I know they've been dogs the entire way.
I feel like that 52 is a high, 52.5 is a high number as well.
I was hearing the
I'm
under.
probably
Yeah, I
gonna
was hearing
smack
the
the
under.
under more than anything. And just,
Does Kyle have a lean? I'm sure there's going to be a YouTube video later on.
I
I'm
think
sure.
Kyle's going to end up leaning Georgia on this one, just knowing what I know about Kyle and how he feels about their defense.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know about that.
That's Dina's got inside sources. She may or may not live in the same.
That's just an
place.
opinion. I'm sure if you guys tune into the YouTube, you'll
Yes.
probably see a video on it. I don't know if he's giving this one out on the YouTube.
All right. So if
We'll
anything,
find out.
KyleKerms.com for all your VIP. I was in the green yesterday. I'm up 2 more units on the NFL, even though the Jets completely suck. But I am up more money from yesterday. My brother makes fun of me because obviously my units compared to Kyle units are not comparable at all. But I'm just like, look, I'm playing small ball here. I'm just bunting. I'm bunting my way to hundreds of dollars.
I think Georgia's going to struggle to score in this game, so I'm going to take the under.
All right. Zip it. Don't reveal the pick. The whole Kyle's threatening over there. He knows that's going to be on the VIP ticket, in which, again, for a very low price, go over KyleKerms.com, become a member, join the family. Is Toast okay? Sometimes I just wonder. I worry about the guy.
No, Toast had a really good day yesterday.
But he didn't say anything about
But
anything.
But it was much needed for the Toast. I think that what
He needed it
happens
for his
is
confidence.
what happens is when you're giving out picks, it comes with a heavy load of guilt. I almost said just heavy load. That would have been weird. But
Pause.
it comes with some guilt when you don't do well, and especially when you have somebody relying on your picks to promote their business.
Or a couple
But-
thousand people relying on your picks.
Or a couple thousand people relying on your picks. But, Toast is good at what he does, and he had a bounce back day. I'm not sure what he posted on the ticket, but I saw on the group chat there was about 10 green check marks in a row. So good shit on Toast. And hopefully you put some of those on the ticket tomorrow.
The pressure does add up. It's like a small sports media business out of Mattawa, New Jersey, putting out potentially the Washington
we got
Commanders
one.
logo.
We got one. Ask Kyle what happened to OKC on
Oh
Friday night.
yeah,
He said,
no,
they
and we
didn't
cut up.
cover.
And I cut up that clip and I put it on YouTube. And then I said before it actually happened, I played it.
You know
So
what's funny? I
didn't
was
fade
having
it?
what?
You faded it?
No.
Oh.
I took the money line.
Oh,
I actually money line.
He said if you're feeling frisky,
Yeah,
you take the money
I
line.
money lined it, and I was making a joke at work, and everybody, all my coworkers, they bet as well, right? So they were like, "Oh, dude, you almost had this one," and they were thinking that I had the 5.5, and they were clearly joking because it was a 30-point game.
Yeah, it was,
They
got
lost by 30,
starched.
and they were
It
like,
was
"Oh,
horrible."
And I was like, "No, dude, I took the money line. I'm good." And they all laughed because it was hilarious that I lost money.
Hilarious. Oh, there was one thing I do want to bring up before we close, and this is and Ken actually brings it up now because if I'm in New York, like if I'm a resident of New York and I don't have the NFL Sunday ticket, and I said, "Oh, look, the Steelers are actually going to be the featured game at 1:00, so this is going to be great. I get to stay home. I don't have to go to the bar. I don't have to spend money. I don't have the NFL ticket. They're going to be on CBS. It's going to be great." That game goes to where it goes. They turn that shit off so fast for the Jets-Bills beginning. That is rough.
Reminiscent of the Heidi Bowl when. I know it wasn't another football game that they went to, but I think it was between the Raiders and the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, where there was a fumble and they actually changed the rule on the forward fumble because of that game.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm mixing up a bunch of games. I'm sure Ken Paulman is firmly entrenched in his era of football, or at least maybe right before it. Maybe he could help me out here. But the Raiders and the Chargers had a game where it was like 2 minutes to go in the game. They cut away from the game to show Heidi, and then there was like a bunch of craziness that ensued.
Who's
thereafter.
Heidi?
You don't know the movie Heidi?
The movie Heidi?
There's a
with the
movie
little
Heidi?
Swiss
Yeah,
girl?
yeah. Come on, bro.
It's like Annie.
She got like pigtails.
See, I am right. That was an 8.
Oh, here we go. We got something here. We got a free pick. Unfortunately, I think the Spurs +6 will be a solid play against the Knicks at MSG tonight. Hey,
You
Kyle.
shut your dirty
Hey,
mouth.
Kyle. Listen, Spurs played last night.
Now, guys,
Anybody care?
I will say this. Kyle is a Knicks fan. So when he is sitting here and he's handicapping games and he's giving advice on, I truly love when Kyle fades the Knicks because I know that he's not speaking with his heart here. He's actually it burns him to fade the Knicks. And when he does it,
Not happy about it,
I'm
but 6 is
honestly-
too many to Nick. And you know what, though? Dina, before you even
Knicks
say
can still
anything,
win,
the Knicks could definitely win the game. I agree. But,
and
I
they could cover.
yeah, well, it's just that you don't bet with your brain when it comes to the Knicks. You don't.
Never.
You just
No.
money line the Knicks no matter what. And you're like,
Always,
oh, we're going to
every
win. Here we
time.
go. Here comes we're going to go on a run here. Yes, it's
the
feel good
one
for us
thing
because
I
we're Knicks
can't
fans,
do.
but you putting your hard-earned dollars on it, I don't know if I'd be doing that. That's why I never put a damn dime on the Cowboys games. Ever in my life, I've never bet a Cowboys game. Not once.
Well, I bet.
Ready? They went 13-4 against the spread this year. I didn't bet them once.
Well,
Ooh.
No,
that
not doing
sounds
it.
like a personal problem.
It is a
Dave.
personal problem. I can't even handle it when there's no money on the line. You kidding me? Last
I'm gonna
night
be
I had
honest, though,
anxiety
you
last
I
night.
handle it the exact same way.
Doing a freaking podcast, the Jersey Boys podcast. I had anxiety when they're like, "Oh, it's 4:30 Sunday." I was like, "Oh, just the time." I knew they were playing the Niners already, but my heart sunk when they said, "By the way, your Sunday's ruined." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, NFL." This is what I can't do it, man. I said it in my story.
a
I said it to-
lethal dose of Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel in that one. Just be ready.
Oh, here we
You
go.
know it's coming.
I know it's coming. I know what they're capable of doing.
When
I
they
get
line
it.
up Debo in the slot, just know that he's getting a handoff because they're going to go he's going to go into motion into the backfield and he's going to get an end around every single time. And
Debo is
it's-
a stud. He's a superstar. And I think, yes, he's going to give us fits. I honestly think he's going to give us absolute fits. We'll get more into that. Obviously, if you want to hear more of my Cowboys takes, I'll be recording tomorrow all about the Star podcast. You can check that out on the Chop Sports Podcast Network. I'm also doing a roundtable for Blogging the Boys. My boy Ugo's coming in the studio tomorrow. We're actually talking some playoff football. Maybe somebody will get me out of this funk because I've never been so sad. It's almost as if I'm so programmed to the Cowboys being done by now. That's oh, how much better could we get next season? And that's my mentality. But now there's a game to play. And the last taste of playoff football I had was Mike Anderson's fat ass running. Was it Mike Anderson, the bowling ball? What's his name? The Rams running back.
No, that was
That was Mike Anderson.
No, it was not Mike Anderson.
Pretty sure
it
it was
CJ Anderson.
CJ Anderson. His fat ass ran all over the Cowboys running game. And I'm like, dude, that's the last taste of playoff football that I had. And like, that will never go away. And there's a couple people on Twitter that got on me. Like, you can't live in the past. You can't talk like that. You can't, blah, blah. But I think it was Sam Grasso said in Chop Sports saying like, oh, well, in the second round we got, and I'm like, can you, what? Like, can we calm down? We got to get there first.
Well, lucky for Kyle and Dave, it's not Green Bay in the second round.
Blah, blah, blah.
Got your wish, Kyle. Avoid Lambeau at all costs.
Got the Heidi Bowl, cut away from the Raiders game, and they scored 3 touchdowns in 2 minutes, according to your dad coming in with the save there on the Heidi Bowl. In any event, long show today. We went an hour and a half. That usually doesn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hungry. There's things to do. We got to take care of some business over here on the old business front and get the studio wrapped up and ready to
Sharps like the Niners.
Okay, great. Sharps like the Niners. What does that mean?
It means
we're trying to cheer him up, Kyle.
But what does that mean? Explain to me.
It means that the people that know what the fuck they're talking about, and typically like the heavy hitters and the just we'll talk
professional
after.
Gamblers.
Explain what
they like the Niners at +3. Okay. Yeah. We win by 3. They push. Everybody wins.
So they're gonna try and finesse the spread Dallas direction, get some more points for the Sharps.
Dave barely goes 10 minutes, let alone an hour and a half. I don't know what that means. But in any event, it doesn't matter. This has been another long episode of the Chop Sports Daily. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. Please like this video. So hit the thumbs up. It's right there. It's easy. Very done. You already did it. Look. You literally just did it. So that's great. Thank you so much for that. Hit the subscribe button. We're on every single day from 11 to 12 usually. Today went long. We had a lot to talk
and if
about.
You're not watching live, let me see if I do this right.
Okay.
There is a subscribe button.
Yes, there you go.
Right
and I'll
here,
point to it. I'm on the wrong side. There we go.
Live.
Okay, here we go. Anyway, so
I'm telling you, I have such an issue with fixing my hat and trying to point on camera.
That's why I have to do it. That's why my hat's been I adjust my hat more than 50 cents.
Discount codes are coming out today, Monday, every Monday. So if you join Patreon, the following Monday, you were going to get emailed your discount codes.
Good, I'm ready to go shop.
Do you want to just
let's do it?
Say what the discount code's going to? No, you can't do that either. Wow.
You good?
Everybody gets it. But that's the thing. I was going to give out codes to everybody if we hit 500 subscribers, but we didn't do
Also, listen. These aren't discount codes.
Oh,
there is a discount code. This is a gift card. So
yes.
I have to go specifically and make individual ones to do this. So it is a little
Gucci's busy. So now we got to go because now I got to edit this thing. He's got to give out discount codes. Y'all are appreciated. So patreon.com/Chop Sports. Support Chop Sports like these people have already done because now they're going to get some free merch out of the deal. And we appreciate you very, very much. So thank you guys for joining us. This has been another long banger of an episode.
I will say, too, I have made 5 discount codes, and only 1 has been used so far.
Lauren?
So, like, the first people that joined over the weekend, I gave a discount code to. Only 1's been used. So, guys, use them up.
I mean, they're not in dire need of merch, but now you could be. So, for Sturch and Gooch, thank you to Dina, the pick fish behind the my brother actually was like, what does that mean, the pick fish? I had to explain it. For all 3 of us here in studio from the Flipping Made Easy studio, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Join us, rewatch this, tell your friends, spread the word, all that mumbo jumbo, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.